Welcome to the Exalted Word Ministries Triple Threat Sunday on Marriage and Relationships. During this panel discussion, we explore crucial aspects of marriage and relationships, including finances, communication, what to look for in a relationship, and red flags and warning signs. If you couldn't attend, I highly recommend going back and taking notes. The conversation was so captivating that not only did the panel participants offer their invaluable insights, but the audience also actively participated and shared their own personal experiences. After listening to the replay, please share your takeaways from today's conversation. I would love to hear from you.
Amen. This is our Triple Threat Sunday. Somebody give God a hand clap of praise for the Triple Threat Sunday. Amen. We thank God. Amen. So what we're coming to do today is recap the series that we've been doing entitled Save the Date. Amen. Amen. So we're going to recap today. Elder Shanta's got some questions that she's going to be asking us. So she's going to be our MC today. Can we give Elder Shanta a hand clap of praise? Y'all can do better than that. Y'all do better than that. Amen. Elder Shanta, it's in your hands.
Also, if you have questions, after I read the questions, you have questions you want to ask, just raise your hand. I'll bring you an envelope. You can write an envelope and give it back to me, and I'll ask.
But if you're brave enough to come up, you can come up and grab the mic and ask. But if not, if you have a question, you can write it down. Amen.
Question number 1. What does it mean to have faith in something or someone?
Which questions did you send? You sent the wrong question. That has absolutely nothing.
That was alpha questions.
That was alpha questions.
That was alpha questions. I'm sorry.
Lord have mercy.
One moment.
I thought it was
Technical
testing our knowledge.
Oh, that's what you said.
That ain't what I sent you, is it? Send that to your phone. So the first message that we taught was about entanglement. I sent it to both of y'all. You got the right questions? Okay, so the same one I sent y'all. I sent y'all the same message. Let's see.
I go back to the text message.
Yeah, go back to the text message and send it to her.
Because I pulled it up.
So the first lesson that we taught was about the entanglement. And we talked about how that we can become committed to things without becoming committed to people. How that we can get caught up in getting things together. Let's get an apartment together. So now we have an apartment together. Both our names are on the lease. Then we get a car together. Now both our names on the car. So we become more committed to things, but we do not, at that point, are we really committed to each other? Amen. Because how many know that when you put your name on a piece of paper and you're doing something together, you ought to be together, and that means that we ought to be on the same page. Amen. Someone was, who was that? Is that me and you talking? Said, what'd you say that one person told their wife? Said, we're gonna split the goods.
Oh yeah, when my daddy and mama separated, he was mad and he told us, he said, well, what we need to do is just decide how we're gonna split the good. He was cussing though, he wasn't saved. And my mama was very safe. He said, let's decide how to split the goods and go on your way then if that's what you want. So she didn't split the goods. She just went on her way.
She just went on her way. Go ahead, Elder Shanta. I think you got the right. And you don't have to stand. We ain't going to ask you to stand the whole time. Yeah, read the top one. Yes.
This comprehensive discussion will recap all the topics covered in the Save the Date series. Our panelists offer practical advice on building trust and intimacy, improving communication, navigating conflicts and disagreements, managing stress and anxiety in relationships, keeping the passion alive, and much more. Whether you're newlyweds or have been together for years, the Save the Date marriage and relationship recap will help you take your relationship to the next level. Question number 1. What do you believe are the greatest challenges facing modern dating and marriage?
Who wants to go first on that one?
I would say the biggest challenge is it's a catch-22, I guess you could say. Our phones. communication. We have stopped learning how to communicate with people face to face. You can live in the same relationship, can be mother, son, any kind of ship that you're in, except situationship singles. We're not doing that this season. It is easier for you to text the person living in your same house than going to see them and talk first face to face. So I believe technology is a good thing, but it also can be a bad thing because it stops us from communicating with people. It takes the human component out of it, because now you're looking at a phone, and we don't really care how it comes across, because when we're texting through a phone, how many have ever been received a text message, and because you was in a bad mood, you felt like the person was coming at you crazy, so then you come back crazy, and they wasn't even crazy, they was in a good mood when they sent it. So technology, I think, is one of the biggest things, because it keeps us from effective communication.
That's good. That's good. I think in marriage, could you read the question one more time? Make sure I'm saying the right thing.
What do you believe are the greatest challenges facing modern dating and marriage?
The biggest challenge, one of the biggest challenges that I think in marriage is losing the independence. I don't want to say losing, but relinquishing your independence and realizing I'm married now. And because I'm married, I can't do what I would normally do. I've got to think about how is it going to affect the person that I'm with. And if you're not willing to relinquish your independence. Now I know there's married folk that have separate bank accounts and all that, but to me that's an escape plan. I don't mind having other accounts, but the main account that's paying our bills in our house, and we said it on last week. We're talking about, I got my half, you got your half. No, I'm not living like that. I would prefer that it's in one account where we're making sure that the bills is paid. When there ain't enough in that account, she will say, don't use that card, use your other card. So I think that losing our independence, not becoming dependent on another person, but really becoming one in every area of your life.
It's your turn.
I would say it would be the person trying to control you. You need to have your independence, but there's still a limit to where you have your own independence and we work together, but you don't have control over me. I still have my own mind. I still have my own say. So we can agree to disagree, but when you get married, you don't own a person. You belong to them to a certain extent, but you don't own them. You do what I say and how I say it. And that's just too much. And I think some people don't understand that marriage is still two coming together as one, but if we can't agree on it, then it's just not your way or no way, or her way or no way, his way or no way. You still have to come together and reason together and come to a happy place.
And I think that goes back to that, knowing when you come to a marriage, and we said this on last week, marriage is not 50-50. Because if you're only coming with 50% of effort and 50% of a commitment, trying to put it with my 50 so we can make 100, we said on last week, that is going to lead to 100% of a heartbreak. Somebody's going, because what do we say? We're going to start keeping, and I think this really hurts modern day marriage too, when we start keeping score. After all I did it for you, so we're keeping score now. And when you keep score, somebody going to outdo somebody. And we can't be holding. And how many like somebody holding stuff over your head? After they raise your hand, how many like somebody holding it over your head once you've done something for them, and they keep throwing it up in your face? If you're gonna keep throwing it up in my face, don't do it. Because if the first time you throw it up in my face, I'm gonna go get whatever it was that you gave me, and I'm gonna bring it back to you. I'm gonna give that thing right back to you. I will go. You out? I let you buy it. Look, let me here. Take that little $5 here. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Question number 2. What are some common misconceptions people have about relationships, and how can they be corrected?
I'm sorry.
You're gonna have to read it again.
Repeat it again.
Thank you. Thank you.
What are some common misconceptions people have about relationships, and how can they be corrected?
Misconceptions.
Well, I would say in today's society that if we are not in relationship or we're single, that something has to be wrong with us. It is such tabooed and looked down on to be single. Well, what's wrong with you? You know, why do you not have somebody? It can't be that something's wrong with me. Maybe I'm just embracing my singleness so I can figure out who I am, because sometimes I'm the problem. Every joker can't be a joker unless I like shopping at the circus. So there's something wrong with me. So I think that is the biggest misconception, that something is wrong. If you are not in a relationship, if you're my age and you've never been married and divorced at least once or twice, something's wrong with you. No, there's nothing wrong with me. First of all, I listened to God. Even when I wasn't saved, I had a spirit of discernment. I just had to activate it. So I could have been married 2 or 3 times by now. But I was not, for myself, wanted a one and done marriage. I didn't want 2 and 3 marriages to fail. So that is a misconception that something is wrong if you're single, coming from someone that's single.
No, I know what it is. I'm trying to think of an answer.
I'll give a little time. I think a big common misconception is I have to find someone to complete me.
That's a good one.
I gotta find. I'm not whole. I'm not complete till I find the man or woman that I'm my soulmate. Well, how many soulmates have we had? I mean, not being funny. I mean, honestly, how many? Pierre, sit down and be quiet. How many soulmates have we really already had? And I'm really to the place now where I don't believe in soulmates. I believe if you find a person that you really love, you can make it work or not. It's a choice.
I
It's
call
a
it
choice.
a covenant relationship.
Talk to us. Tell us what a covenant.
Come on, you
No,
tuned
no,
in. Go ahead. You part of the panel.
Just give you,
part
I was
of
giving
you might as well pull up a chair. Come on here. That's good stuff.
Okay, so I would say the fact that you have to be with someone. And a lot of times we feel like we have to be with someone, we'll settle for anything just to say we have somebody. It almost goes back to what Prophetess was saying, but she was talking about being married. But I mean, just in a relationship, it's okay to go out to eat by yourself. It's okay to go shopping by yourself. It's okay to go to the mall by yourself. You don't have to have somebody with you all the time. And I think that was my thing. I always had to have somebody with me. So you go from one relationship to the next relationship to this relationship. You don't give yourself time to be free. You don't give yourself time to love yourself, because you're just bouncing from person to person to person, because in your mind you have to have a person.
Can I piggyback off that? One other thing, a misconception is once I find somebody, it'll fix this. And what I teach the singles is nobody wants to come into a relationship with you in a construction hat. Nobody deserves to have to tear down walls that you have put up just because you've went through certain situations. And truth be told, a lot of those situations God did not put you through, you put yourself through. So you have to take accountability. So that goes with friendships. I've had friendships I've had to walk away from because I've tried to love you where you're at and you're stuck where you're at. This friendship can't elevate any higher because you're stuck in 1982 when Boo Boo broke your heart. I'm not there anymore, so nobody wants to come in and have to do the work to love you.
That's good.
Loving you should not have to be so hard. Not saying that you won't have bad days, but it shouldn't be hard. If your kids is bad, females, don't wait to find a man to try to fix your kids. Discipline them, fix them, because that probably is your holdup from getting somebody, because God's not going to send somebody in to have to refix what you've broken and allowed it to be that way. Now the person that you've bought in has now become the bad guy, is now the villain, when truth be told, you created a monster and you want somebody else to perform an exorcism. You created the monster, whether the monster is with you. If you have boundary issues, you getting a wife or a husband, that is not going to fix the problems. It's going to add an innocent person to the drama that you have created for the boundaries that you have not set. So that is a misconception. Do not get into friendships and relationships thinking it's going to solve a problem. I'm lonely. I need, Lord, just send me a friend. No, you need to figure out how to be okay with yourself, because it take out the romanticism out of it. No friend wants a needy friend. Let's go to the mall. Now you mad at me because I don't want to go to the mall. Misconception that someone's going to fix the problem. That's what I had to add. Sorry.
That's good. That's good. So I can cut this out. Brother Craig, you can turn the heat up a little bit. I need y'all to make sure y'all fix the heat and leave the heat.
Did you say turn it up?
Yeah, some people's getting cold. But we got to find that happy medium and just leave it. I don't want y'all cold, and I ain't want to be sweating like a stuck pig. Okay, back to my part. Marcus, what I was saying was, so one of the misconceptions that I see in marriage, and I don't know if it's older couples or young couple, we don't have to dress alike.
Oh God.
I can't stand that. We don't have to dress alike. We don't have to look alike. And guess what? We don't have to be together all the time. I need you to go somewhere by yourself and get away from me sometime. I'm sure she needs me to go somewhere by myself sometime. And guess what? Don't go with me somewhere you don't want to go. Because now you're ruining, and your attitude is ruining the trip for me, and I don't even want to be where I wanted to go.
That's good.
Y'all ain't talking to me. Y'all ain't talking to me.
That's good.
And guess what? If you don't trust me to go, then we really don't have anything. And I've been there. I'm talking from experience. Because Tamara, no, where Tammy? You seen Tammy? Where Tammy? What time did she come? Well, she left you 5 minutes ago. It only take 2 minutes to get from your house. Why she ain't here? But guess what? The problem wasn't Tammy. The problem was I had to work on my own insecurity. So it does me good when Tammy takes a trip and goes and spends the day away. Bless the Lord, oh my soul. And I can walk through the house with my toes out and put the air on 66. Y'all ain't talking to me. Just thugging out. Just me and the boys just hanging out, watching TV, enjoying myself. And I'm sure she enjoys time away from me. But that comes with both of us having security. Amen.
Question number 3. How has technology impacted dating and relationships, both positively and negatively?
Y'all, you want to answer?
Somebody want to answer?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I can talk loud.
Wait, Tamara, you gotta be on the mic.
We want your
Communication and lack of it. Because with the technology, the phones, the laptops, all that stuff, people are not talking anymore. They're texting. They are sitting up there shooting a text or Wi-Fi or sending all this stuff. When you're right there, talk.
Yeah.
Don't send a text message and then wonder why that person ain't responded. Because sometimes they might not even have their phone on them. If you want to talk to the person, call them.
Exactly.
It takes less time to call a person than to sit up there and text and make sure you got the punctuation and the spelling right.
That's good. That's
Just definitely piggyback off of that. Communication, technology, I can't stand it. I'm for real. Like, for one, the simple fact is so, misconceptions come from, like, for the simple fact of communication. If I text you, okay, and like Bishop said earlier, you're in an ill mood or whatever, and you see that okay. So okay, I'd never known before a cell phone. So okay could mean so many different things without saying it. But it only means okay. But a next person could see it and, okay, well, what you mean okay? No, you mean more than that, okay. You know, it's like so much, or even down to, like, say, business. You can't be at peace because your phone go off. My mama texts me anytime. My mama texts me 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. It ain't no sneaky link. Ask my mama, why you grabbing my phone at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning wondering or questioning who's even texting me that time in the morning when I have other stuff? Like, it brings it adds more to insecurities and trust issue. Yeah. You can comment under a next person's picture and your significant other with their insecurities. Why he gonna like your post? I mean, I just posted the picture and he liked, or vice versa. So, yes, sir. Technology can mean so many different, it can mess us up so many different ways because, like you said, it lacks communication. It makes it so much easier. You could be in the next room and, like you said, instead of me getting up and going in the next room to tell you, hey, babe, hey, what you doing? Come and get up here and see. Like, you know, like, so technology has, I'm sorry, you wanted a positive too? I don't know a positive yet on technology. But I want you to give me one, but that's my view on the technology.
That's good. And it's so important too, and I'm getting ready to do a teaching on it with some leaders, that you learn your significant other or your friend's learning style. Because some people do well with text. If you're what they call digital, you're a thinker. But if you're dealing with a person who's auditory, their way of learning is hearing, and you're texting. No, they may hear what they're feeling, and it not be what you're meaning in your message. So technology can be something else. It can take a conversation to the left. Go ahead.
Whispering in Shanta's ear about relationships. Technology these days has actually ruined relationships. For example, I could be in a little disagreement with whoever, my significant other, my husband or whatever, and he can get in his mind where I'm going to see what Tasha doing that I met back in 1992 in high school. So it takes one little inbox to Tasha in 1999 in high school, and there it is. You have committed adultery, even though you may not think you have. You stepped outside of our.
Come on.
You have stepped out of our relationship that we have, and you have stepped into another one, even though you're telling me, oh, it was just a conversation.
Yeah.
So if a simple disagreement between you and I would lead you to go talk to Tasha, how many more Tashas you talking to?
How many more Tashas?
That's good.
How many more Tashas is out there?
That's true.
And like we always say, the dangerous part about social media and old friends is the human mind tries to pick up where it left off. It tries to pick up. How you doing? Right? If y'all left off in a relationship and the relationship just faded, it tries to pick up. Did you have something, Pastor Bars?
The last memory, the last song.
Yeah. The feeling, because your mind thinks in pictures.
Yeah.
Your mind thinks in pictures, and what you think comes along with a feeling. Every thought comes with a feeling. How many of you have heard the wrong song and felt the wrong feeling? Go ahead, Elder. We'll get stuck right there.
So I'm going to give Tamara a positive. So technology actually has helped me because I have been looking at stuff to help me, you know what I'm saying, in my singleness journey.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not always negative. Like, I've read articles and started journaling more and started, you know what I'm saying, just doing me a different way now.
That's good.
Thank you, Shanta. I was going to say that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You in there.
I don't think overseer answered the question.
said so much. I don't think they left.
That left. Okay. Question number 4. How important is compatibility in a successful relationship? And how can couples determine if they are truly compatible? Go ahead, Bishop.
I would have to say compatibility is very important, but the problem is many of us don't know who we are. Because we don't know who we are, then how can I know if you're compatible with me if I really ain't identified who I am?
That's good, Bishop.
What do you mean you don't know who you are? Okay, well, I'm this way with this group of people. I'm this way with this group of people. I come to church on Sunday and I'm one way. I go to work, I'm another way. I really don't know who I am.
Identity crisis.
But if you know Bishop Wilson, I'm pretty much, there's only 2 of me. There's Bishop Wilson and there's Martin. And Marcus, you got to meet Martin. Martin is just crazy as just is crazy. Idea, we just get in her office and laugh. I know the old people just be so mad at us. But you've got to know who you are, or guess what? What I used to be compatible to, I may think that I'm compatible to, but that ain't even it. Pastor said it. Pastor said it in her message on last week. Pastor said, when you're dating, opposites attract. But when you get married, opposites attack. What I used to like about you, I don't even like it no more. I don't even like it. Stephanie, I thought it was cute. That ain't cute no more when you bite your toenails. Go ahead, El.
Oh, that kind of, I'm just going to piggyback off what Bishop said. I think I spoke on it in my sermon of five signs that you're with the wrong person. And it goes back to knowing who you are. Because when we date, we put on a mask. We don't want anyone to know who we are when you first start dating. Unless you're just comfortable with yourself, and it's kind of take me or leave me. It's taken me a long time to get there. But typically, our mask is what draws us together. So we don't know what we're compatible with. A relationship prior, we trauma bonded. So they were compatible with me at that moment, but the moment I began to heal, we are no longer compatible, because now I can't even be empathetic, because if God bought me out, why are you still stuck right there? Like, you're right. So we going to the same church, going listen to the same sermon, getting fed the same food, spiritual food, and you still stuck right here. Well, I'm not there anymore because I applied myself. You did not. So what was compatible before, I am no longer compatible with you. If I look back over my life, I was compatible with my son's father, but you look at me now and you see him now and you're like, what in God's name? He came from over there and she came from over here. Right. How did these two come together and produce 2 children together? But it is where I was at in that moment. That is why it is so detrimental that you learn who you are. And some people, unfortunately, linked and got married before they knew who they were. So then you your mask end up marrying each other. And then I think what I said was then as you get married or you've been in it for a minute, part of the mask starts to come off. And now we're walking around like Phantom of the Opera. Something scary.
I didn't know this was you.
Yeah, like who are you? Well, this was who, and I think what I said was when we get to that point where we're just comfortable and we can show our ugliness, because it ain't but so long we can hold on to the yes. When that mask begins to come off and the joker's looking at you and saying, who are you? Or you're looking at him and saying, who are you? The truth be told, I'm trying not to preach. Truth be told, you wasn't good enough in the beginning, but because I felt like I wasn't good enough, I conformed myself to your desires, your likes, your wants, what you wanted, knowing it was never me in the beginning, but because I didn't know who I was, I'd rather have a piece of a man than no man, or a piece of a woman and no woman. But the truth be told, if I would have removed my ugly mask in the beginning, you wouldn't have wanted me. But because I wanted to operate in witchcraft, which is manipulation, I'm going to sell you what you've told me you wanted. So if you come in with a checklist, and I left my last girlfriend because she didn't do X, Y, Z, or this was a problem with my, so now me and the girlfriend got the same.
Yeah. We like.
Because you attracted. Okay. So I attracted my ex. I attracted you. So there has to be something in common with both of us. But because you look good on my arm, I'm going to pretend that I don't have the same problem that your ex had. Yeah. So then we end up with the mask, and now we can't be compatible until you take off the mask. Who's the ugly you? Let me accept you at your ugly you, and then I feel like I got a cherry on top when I get the nice you. Show me your ugly up front so that I can say, this is for me, this ain't for me, or vice versa. Let me show you. I'm going to give you the real me. I promise you within the first 24 hours, you're going to see me. You're going to see me. So the thing is, do you want me at my ugliest? Because if you can't accept me at my ugliest, you don't deserve me at my best. So compatibility, I believe, is removing the mask and knowing who you are so that you, with your saved, sanctified self, don't start operating in witchcraft and manipulating and conforming to what someone else's standards is for their life. If you can't meet their standards, just say, baby, you ain't for me, or I ain't the one for you. Goodbye.
And then it goes to the fake it till you make it too. Like you can't.
Yeah, we done with that.
You know, yeah. So, you know what I'm saying?
I love my single folk.
I done had some failed marriages because I was trying to fake it till I make it. Like he look good and he gonna get it together.
And in all honesty, I think we really are trying. Mm-hmm. We're really trying. We earnestly want it to work, but because it's not who we are. Because it's not who we are.
Well, I'm going to speak for the millennials. A lot of us use our zodiac signs to try to be compatible with someone. Oh, well, I'm a Taurus, so you knew I was a Taurus, so you knew I was stubborn. And then, you know, the person is, oh, well, I'm a Sagittarius, so you knew I couldn't handle your stubbornness. And now we in this relationship, and we building more trauma that we don't have to build with each other because we just don't want to let go of each other. And, you know, I caught myself doing it last night. I was on the phone, and I was like, what I said, I was like, well, I'm a Taurus. You knew I was going to get mad, and you still made me mad. And then he was like, well, I'm a Gemini. So what that mean? You're crazy. You're crazy. Yes, two of y'all. And then you fighting with me. And no, baby. Just go on. Just go on. I be trying to tell Tamara that Nupi and that Gemini, that Taurus and that Gemini over there, you know y'all toxic together. And she still just go over there and go and get Nupi. But yeah, so I feel like, you know, depending on your zodiac sign, it's a form of manipulation to being in a relationship with someone that you know you don't need to be with.
That's good. But the Lord showed me you the one.
Oh.
Run.
I think Deacon got something.
The way I look at it is like, when you get in a relationship, that mask you were speaking of, it's got to come off right away. You can't sit up there, because in a lot of relationships, either the woman is trying to change the man, or the man is trying to change the woman into what they want.
Yeah.
And that's not helping either one of y'all. So if like me and Bishop got so much in common, it's just sickening. Both of us introverts. If I get home, trust me, I ain't ready to go nowhere.
Nowhere.
And sit up there, and it took me a while to understand who he was. Now we're good friends. But when we was working together, it was times I couldn't stand him.
Yeah.
Because the assistant manager part of Martin Wilson, I couldn't deal with. So when I got home, he called me or texted me trying to get me to laugh. Like, I'm sitting there like, why this chick texting me? I don't want to talk to you right now. You done ticked me off right now. I don't even want to see your name. But I had to understand, when we got off the clock, we got to be who we really are.
Yeah.
And like, we got too many hats. I got to wear the captain's hat at work. I got to wear the deacon's hat in. And when I get home, I get to be Craig. When I go back home to Mississippi, which I would never, because then I got people looking for Trey. Now, you talking about ugly? That's the dude that scares me.
Yeah.
The one I left back in Mississippi, because he scared me. That's the one that was scared of death. So, and I came here to find myself, to find a new person that needed to be around people. That wanted to be around people, people wanted him to be around. That's who you got to learn who you are. You got to learn who you are inside, not who these people perceive you to be, who they want you to be. Because until that person accepts you for who you are, it's just not going to work at all.
That's good. That's good. And we got to be honest, because we don't. Defining the mass is being honest with who you are and being honest with who you're with. I tried to tell Tammy I was crazy. She didn't believe me.
And the mask thing, the reason that y'all just stepped into like the whole last 2 years of my life. Like that just whole last little question just really, and I was in a situation, well, I have an issue of getting involved. And the thing of it is, I know what I'm getting into, but that ego, I ain't even gonna lie. And I'm a very humble person, but I do have an ego, and that's dealt with because of my own insecurities. So I tend to get in situations, I'm not gonna lie, just for the look or the mask. So I fell in love. I get into a lot of coworker situations that I shouldn't. And fraternizing, yes. And the thing of it is, when you work in a restaurant, fake is in the description of your job. If you don't know how to be fake, don't apply. So I fell for I knew it was a mask. Well, at first I really didn't, but I fell for what I only saw at work. And that was the mask, and they openly willing to admit, well, yeah, that's I have to be like that at work once, because I started questioning, like, after we got involved and stuff, like, whoa, no, that's not the person that I fell for at work. Well, that's because it's at work. You didn't get to know me outside of work, and outside of work, this is what I am, take it or leave it. And, I was put in a situation where take it or leave it. The main part of me was saying leave it, but that ego and everybody else, me trying to prove to everybody else, no, I ain't never had a relationship to work out. I'm gonna prove something with this one. This one fine. Oh yeah, I'm about to prove. So I'm staying with him. So I'm gonna stay right here, and I'm gonna stick it out and work it out. And it never, because I was chasing the mask, and I wasn't chasing the real thing. So when the real thing would come about, we could never make it work, because that's not what I was compatible with. I was compatible with the mask. I wasn't compatible with the actual person. And it caused me a world of hurt. But at the same time, it had to happen, because by me seeing that, I realized a lot of the hurt didn't even just come from that situation. I had hid so much instead of actually healing from it. Yeah. I carried it into myself, and I put up a mask, knowing I'm sensitive and stuff. I'm like, oh, yeah, we can do this or whatever. I ain't gonna be facing the next day. Man, what you do don't hurt me. Then I'm in the room. But that's because I thought you could. Well, you said you could handle it. I just said that because I knew that's what you wanted. So that mask.
How did it affect your job?
I'm not there no more. I ended up walking out after an hour of me coming into work, because it didn't work. It didn't work. We couldn't have that, and that was a family-oriented place, and I wasn't part of that family, so I ended up taking the hit, and I was literally the victim in the situation, but because I chose to stay and knew it, yeah, I'm the one that ended up without a job.
Don't date on your job.
They still working.
They still working. Don't do it. It always messes up. It always messes it up. He said always. Go ahead, Elder.
How do cultural and societal norms influence our perspectives on dating and marriage?
I think that our culture, and Pastor said, I don't think people's like that anymore. But for our culture, I can't talk for the white culture, but for the black culture, for the man, we want to make more money than the woman, and if we don't make more money, we feel like we're less than. If you're insecure, so I think finances is a big cultural thing. It's been, even whether you're in the church or not, it's just been inbred in you that the woman should be at home in the kitchen barefoot and pregnant. Y'all ain't talking to me. Man need to be out in the field. So those cultural things like that, society, I think Elder hit on it. You know, if you're not married by a certain time, then what's wrong with you? Why ain't you got no children? What's wrong with you? And some older people will put that pressure on you. When you gonna give me some grandbabies? When you go and get them? Go ahead.
Well, speaking, just piggybacking off of Bishop just a little bit, it is, I'm just going to put it out there. I love black men. I don't want to be outside of my culture. I'm just going to say that. But it is, I mean, ain't nothing wrong with that. But to me, there is nothing more wholesome than a black man. And it's because they've been beaten and downtrodden so much. But in our culture, just piggybacking off of him, when you are in the position that I'm in, earning the type of money that I earn, and it's going to be across culture because we're looking at finances, and then I came from a culture where women were the stronger one. So I am trying to break that culture, because no man wants to be with a woman who don't need them.
No.
Not saying that we have to be needy, but just because I can change the oil don't mean I should get out in the driveway and change the oil. So
Okay, but what if you're with somebody a man that's used to seeing that? You know what I'm saying? Like they're used to the strong
is
woman.
is that what you want?
Oh no, that ain't what I want.
Okay, well then that man ain't the one for you. And keep moving. So I know for myself, it's especially when you are trying to be with an African American man. I'm going to say man. Let me put a disclaimer out there. Man comes with maturity and not age, because you can have a 45-year-old that still want to date their mama, and you mama all through the day, and then you wife at night. I don't want to date. I want to be somebody else's mama. I got 2 kids that are grown. So I'm talking about a man that knows who he is, a man that is a man's man. They are a provider. That's what I'm talking about. So breaking that culture of being the strong, independent, I don't need a man for nothing woman, because that used to be me. If I got to ask you to do it, I'd rather do it myself. That has to change, because then that detours a strong man away, because everybody wants to be needed at some point. And my biggest thing is, I want you, I don't need you. And that was the worst culture that I've ever came from. Because the truth be told, I do need you. And we have to break that culture, because no matter how strong a woman is, men are needed. You are needed.
And vice versa, yeah.
And when you have, and Bishop just said vice versa, and when you have a man that thinks a woman is nothing but someone who cooks and cleans and waits on you hand and foot, that's not equally either, because I didn't sign up to be your maid. I'm not your maid. What I do for you will be because I love you and care for you, and just because I can do it doesn't mean I should have to do it. I can take out the trash, but if you're a grown man in my house, why you can't take the trash out? Now, if something happened to you and the trash running over, I'm going to take it out because I ain't going to live nasty. But the culture, you have to know how to, I'm not going to purposely choose to make less money to fit with you.
Come on.
I'm not going to purposely do that. I'm going to continue to earn. I ain't going to tell you what I earn, but what I earn, yes, I earn enough money that I am a two-parent income home with only one parent, let's just say that. So with that being said, I have to alter my culture of being the strong, dominant one. I've got to turn down the male, I hate to say testosterone, but we got to turn that down, because next. I'm just saying a heterosexual man doesn't want to be with another man.
Right.
Even if you got boobies.
Right.
Sorry.
Exactly.
So you've got to understand the culture that you come from, and understand that sometimes that culture has to be altered for you to get what God has created for you, because sometimes our culture is not right, if that makes sense.
That's right. I'll let you get Tamara. And why she's taking that to Tamara, and ladies, don't make the man feel less than a man.
Yeah.
Because if you make him feel, if you demasculize him, he will resent you. And it will, he said, yes, sir. It will cause, there's nothing that causes more a divide in relationship than you demasculizing a man. You making him feel like he's left. If I made a mistake, I made a mistake. I ought not be hearing about that same mistake 5 years down the road. But men, you ought not be making the same mistake.
That's right.
Because if you're making the same one, you're making the same mistake, then we're still on the same path. Nothing has changed.
My question is just, when it comes, like you said, cultural differences. So what, even down to the cultural beliefs, because that's a real thing now. Like, we're on this spirituality versus religious type. So I know when I was younger growing up, I always seen a lot of the women in church that were in church, but their men wasn't in church. And that was very, we saw that a lot. A woman, mother getting up, testifying, I'm praying for my man. He coming to church. I'm going to pray him in the church. He eventually, but does that work? Should you have to, because to me, that would be pulling up some type of wedge or a gap, because if he's not ready for that, and that's where you're already at, how? Because like you said, men don't like a lot, and I know working with a man, when you get a woman get into a leadership role, a lead position, and the men up under you, they do not like that at all, because they feel like now you're bossing them or you're being bossed. So how could that work when it comes down to relationship/marriage? You get what I'm saying? Like trying to convert or get the man over into living the way you want him to live.
Don't date unequally yoked.
Don't. No, and I think that's it. But I think from being in Statesville and Lenore, smaller towns, I think that, say 10 years ago, it was a lot of people who were not in the church when they got married. And then the one of them got saved and they became unequally yoked.
She was saved, and she saved, the other isn't. And every day she calling me, but you knew that that's what you were getting into.
Right.
He's not ready to change. So wouldn't that come to a point to where you just have to walk away? If you see by this time, if they're not changing, even though they're saying it, you could talk good when you're sober.
Yeah.
But then when that monkey get on your back, if you're not strong enough to fight that, then that's good, because you're not truly ready. You're just saying that you're ready just to shut my mama up. But in all actuality, as soon as she shut up, you going back out there to get you a fifth or whatever, and here you go drinking and stuff again. So that's why I say, to me, that would bring up a wedge, because now it's kind of affecting her spirituality, because she can't pray like she wants to, because now frustration, or he acting out when it's a moment of silence, or you can't have a male pastor because I don't want you talking to him. Like, that just, to me, seems like it creates more of a problem than actually trying to get them over.
It does, and when you just threw another component in there, the addiction. he could really, I mean, he could really, 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 really want to change. But when you're dealing with an addiction, it's a whole nother monster.
I just want to say I thank God for when my mother joined the church. I'm pretty sure Bishop knows. By her going to church, and she did not force one day upon my father going to church. She never forced him to go to church. One day he woke up and he went to church with my mother. And when he came back, he was a changed man. And to this day, he is a changed man. My father's a deacon. I used to watch my daddy drink beer every day with me in the car. But he quit cold turkey. He never touched another drink in his life. And he's a deacon into the church right now. And I have to say, I thank God for him allowing to show my mama a different path. My mom went to several different churches in Statesville until she went to the right one. Yeah. And that right one not only changed her, it changed my father. So I can say sit here today and say I'm very grateful that to know I don't cry no more tears for my mother.
Come on.
I don't cry no more tears because I know where she is right now. And I know one day when God get ready to take my father, I know my father is going into a better place. So if someone came to me and told me today, Stephanie, your father has 24 hours to live, I wouldn't shed a tear. I probably would rejoice because I know this world we living in right now is not meant for him to be no more. Yeah. And when he go on to a better place, it's going to be a better place for him. So I thank God for allowing my mother to get into church, allowing my father to get in church, and I see how it brightens his eyes regardless of what I do out in this world. When I get up in the morning and I say, Dad, he said, where are you going? I'm going to church. It just brings a joy on his face, and he'll say, you driving to Charlotte? Yeah, I'm driving to Charlotte. Where do you think I'm going?
And it's so important, and thank you so much for sharing that, because you can't make anybody do anything. But when you live it in front of them, no matter how frustrated you are, how upset you are, you maintain and hold the standard. The Bible said that the husband is sanctified by the conversation. Talk to us. This is what the word
says. Because I like the word. The word says, and if a woman has a husband who is not a believer and he is happy to live with her, she should not divorce him. For the unbelieving husband is sanctified because of the wife, and the unbelieving wife because of her husband. Otherwise, your children are clean, but now they are holy. So that's why you holy.
Yeah. For real. Hear what that says. The husband, I'm going to break it down in layman's term. The husband changes because of the mannerism. How the wife treats him makes him want God. Else were your children unclean. When the children see a real change in mama and dad. Hey, I felt that in my Shonday.
I'm a witness.
Yes, no matter you couldn't go, but so far, you seen. It's one thing to tell people about change, but when the person I know changes, it'll make a change inside of you. I better stop because I felt my Holy Ghost right there. He called by shot. Go ahead. My God. Ain't nobody changing until you in a relationship until one of you make up your mind, I'm ready to change. I got to quit doing what makes her mad, and she's got to quit doing what makes me mad, and we've really got to find who God has us to be. Go ahead, Pastor.
And the true change is at home, not at church. Because when you go to church, you can act the part and you know, you can be nice and cordial, sweet to everybody else, but you can't be sweet to your husband or wife at home that chose not to go just because you're mad and they didn't. You can't make anybody do anything. But if you say you're changed, then show them that you're changed. Show them what godly love is. that unconditional love, whether they do what you want them to or not, you stay the course. And I always tell people when we do marriage counseling, work on you and let God work on them. You keep praying, and I'm pretty sure that her mother was praying for him. She was still praying, but she was still staying the course. And God came in and changed his heart and his mind. So many times we feel like we can change him. I talked about that last week. You cannot, only God can do that. Sometimes we make it worse because we're nagging and, well, you should do this. And we just go on and God can't move.
That's good. That's good. Go ahead, Al. How many enjoying this? Oh.
What role does gender play in relationships, and how can we challenge gender stereotypes and roles within partnerships?
Well, I think coming from a background where I was around my grandmother a lot, they were very big on gender roles. As the granddaughters, we had to be a servant to the men. We woke up before them. We had their breakfast cooked and hot on the table, so when they got up, they were ready to eat. Then we'd wash their dishes, and then by the time we got that done, it's time to start cooking again. And back in those days, there was no cans. You did everything from scratch. So the men is the provider, the women are the caretakers, and the one that takes care of the home. That is typically what we've been taught in society. However, when you get older, life happens, and there may be a circumstance of where now, as the female, I may have to be the provider because for whatever reason, you're unable to work. So therefore, you have now taken on the role of making sure the kids' homework is done and things of that nature. I think as we mature, there are some things that if both parties can do, it's you do your share and I'm going to do my share so that we can get it done together. Cooking is not just for the female. There are some men out here that can cook way better than us women can. And I'm all right. If that's what you want to do, you going to cook, I'll wash the dishes. If I'm cooking, then you wash the dishes. Like, let's do it together. It doesn't necessarily make you more masculine if you're doing this or more feminine if you're doing that. The thing is to come together to execute what needs to be done so that it's done decency and in order. It doesn't have to be chaotic in the house, and it doesn't have to be one person pulling the entire load. And I think it goes back to what Bishop said earlier. We have to make sure that if the man is doing something that is more taught to us as the female role, doesn't matter, you're still providing for me, because if that's something that I need, then and you're providing it, then you're a man. And you a real man if you're doing stuff and I ain't got to ask you to do it. Good God Almighty, Jesus, I ain't married yet. I'm gonna stay on this path over here, because we can't just be defined by gender roles, because at one point they believed that women shouldn't be in the pulpit, that it was a man that should bring forth the word. So we got to change that. Because a woman was the first one to carry the word. So, hey, we can't be based off of gender roles. So I'm one that is, I just don't believe in gender roles. I get out there and I can cook you a meal and change your oil all with the same hands. And it doesn't make me less feminine, because I was taught. Unfortunately, I was taught what I wasn't taught. I took upon myself to learn, just because I was a single mom, choices that I made, that I needed to be able to depend on myself because I didn't have that male figure there to do it for me. So that's my thoughts.
While she's taking the mic, and then we'll get Brother Craig. And I'll be the first to say, I think that the church, in some aspects, is the most male chauvinist place that we could possibly go. The church is very male chauvinist. But when it comes down to your household, the only words that come to my mind is by any means necessary. Yep. Whoever's got it. That's why I said marriage is not 50-50. Marriage is not 50-50. Like it used to be. Like we got a situation this week where maintenance man is coming to the house. I used to could stay at home and be there for the maintenance man. I didn't mind that. I work out of town now, so the roles have kind of switched. We've got to make things work the best that they can without putting a strain on someone to be a certain thing. You're the woman, so you have to. That doesn't work anymore. That doesn't even fit in this society.
And I'm glad you said, and I think that's the main thing when it comes to this gender role. Society has put it out there so much that you got to be this or you got to be that. Like with me, society, like she said, we feel like if a man is like this dude the other day, I mean, he a thug, but we was at the house the other day and was at my brother's house and he was showing me pictures and he did his little girl's hair. And he was like, don't laugh at me. But he did a good job. He twisted it and stuff like my brother did my hair. But when I was growing up younger, that was looked down upon. Society made us feel like a man should not be doing a woman's hair or a man shouldn't be cooking or, are we recording? Well, y'all know I'm an open book. I'm very even in a same gender lifestyle, society taught us how if you're in this, you got to be this way. You got to play this role. No, because like she said, she could change. I'm not changing. I don't know how to change no oil. I don't know how to change no tire. When I'm at work now and the men be looking at me and I'm lifting something heavy, bruh, why is you standing there looking at, help me. I am a woman over here, help me. But society has put it out there so much to where you have to be this if you're in this and you have to be that and you're in that. And it shouldn't be that way. Like you said, I feel like it should be an equal 50-50, but at the same time, you still have to know your role.
I got on Tim's, bruh, but get this box.
Don't ignore the fact of what I am. I need help. I'm 5 foot little over here. So it's society really put that out there. But besides me, I grew up in a no male household and everything. But at the same time, I even realized you need that dependency. I tell these women a lot of time that have daughters, quit putting that in your daughters, or quit keeping the male away from the daughter, just because you feel some type of way. The woman, a male needs to be in that child's life, vice versa, but you do need that male role in the life to show you. So society has kind of really done this whole gender type of shut it down, but.
And they say that 90% of the men that are in prison, it's not just the absence of the father, but it's the structure of the father. When you don't have a father in your life to tell you no, don't do that, and mean it, it does something to you, so no doesn't mean no anymore. Brother Crickets.
Okay. See, I brought up a certain way. In Mississippi, it was backwards. They didn't believe in the female ministers in the pulpit and stuff. But certain things I was taught, because me being the only grandson at that age, my grandmother instilled certain traits in me. She stood up there and said she's going to teach me. She taught me how to cook, clean, sew, because she said the first thing came around, you need to learn all this because you might get a wife that can't do nothing, none of it. And which ended up being a curse. My first wife couldn't boil water. But the thing about it is, it's the way you're brought up. When you got a mother that brings you up a certain way, when you got a father that brings you up a certain way, then you got that backup behind them, your grandparents, that bring you up to the person that they want, that you need to be, and that another person needs you to be. It's all about the growth and that which we don't have anymore. That village raised the child syndrome. We don't have that anymore.
The village is crazy.
I just want to say that I got to get grandbaby.
That's good. That's it. Go ahead, Elder, so we can get. How far are we? Two more. So we're gonna jump through these. Go ahead. We got two more.
How can we improve communication in relationships, particularly when it comes to expressing needs, boundaries, and expectations?
I'll say put your phone down.
Well, that was my answer.
Can I talk to you? Can I talk to you? Put the phone down. Talk to me.
And watch how you talk. Talk to a person, but don't be aggressive and nasty like I'm your child, because then we can't talk like that. But you have to think about it before you say it, and just use that emotional intelligence, and calm yourself down before we can communicate, but it's a way to communicate. If you're angry or upset, calm down, walk away. Even if you got to have a safe word or whatever, I need some time, we can talk, but just let me get my thoughts together, because you don't want to talk mad and upset, because you're talking over each other and it's just defeating the purpose.
Watch that body language too.
Yeah.
I was going to say, be someone that can be talked to. A lot of us don't have a problem talking. When it comes to the listening part, we have a problem with.
Yes.
And if whoever, friendship, relationship, marriage, single, whatever role you're playing, if you are a person that cannot handle the truth, if it don't match your perception of what the truth should be, it halters the communication. Because if I'm trying to tell you the truth and you go acting a monkey on me, then I know you can't handle the truth, so I'm going to shut up and just do what I do. Because if I'm going to catch hell when I mess up, and I'm going to catch hell when I'm trying to talk to you, then let me just do what I want to do and catch hell, because I'm going to get it either way. At least I'm satisfied in this moment.
Yeah.
Because either way it goes, I know that you're going to raise hell. You're not going to listen to what I want to say. And I think that's with any type of relationship, whether it be professional. I'm a boss. I try to be a boss that listens, and it's not a dictatorship. I don't run a dictatorship at work. I don't run dictatorships in relationships. So this is a two-way thing. And if this is an area that you felt strong enough that I needed to be aware of, then I should respect you enough to be quiet and listen to hear and not listen to respond. Yeah, so the biggest thing is when we talk about removing our mask and things of that nature, if you're in a relationship, no matter what title, if you are someone that can't be talked to, the relationship's not going anywhere, because then because I know me, I'm not going to keep repeating myself. So if I'm telling you more than once, I'll give you twice. Once, maybe you didn't hear me. Maybe I didn't. Maybe my English wasn't matching with your English. So the second time, I'm going to talk Chinese to you. And if you don't get them two languages, I'm done talking. And then I'm going to do what I want to do. And then when you find out I did what I wanted to do, then you can yell. And I'm still not going to talk. I'm going to sit there and listen at you yell. And that's coming from experience, because that used to be me. I'd cuss you out before you got your sentence out. I'm delivered. I'm better now. But the thing is be a person, number one, that knows how to articulate your needs. Number two, you understand the emotion that you are feeling so that you can express it correctly. A lot of us come across as anger when the truth is I'm hurt. You hurt my feelings. I feel betrayed. I'm embarrassed. Those are things that usually comes off as aggression, and you're not mad at all. You're just hurt. Like you said that this wouldn't happen again. This is my, but it did. So now you've hurt me, but then it comes across as nasty, and then therefore the communication shuts down, because we revert. It either shuts down or it gets real ugly. Either way it goes, the communication stops. Either you'll shut down and stop talking, or you'll trigger something in your childhood, and then they say something to you, and you say something crazy back, and then they get crazy, and then all of a sudden we throwing stuff across the house. So the communication stops when one person is not able to hear.
And you've got to listen from a place of caring instead of from a place of insecurity. And that was my thing, because if I'm arguing with you every time you're telling me the truth about yourself, we're not talking about the truth about a situation. You're telling me about how you feel, and I'm getting angry. That means I have a wall of insecurity up, and you're hitting it really hard right now, because you're telling me how I make you feel. But nobody can make you feel it. Well, I'm telling you, this is what happens when you do that to me. And I had to get to the place with Tammy to where I stopped listening from a place of insecurity and started hearing what she was really saying. If you want your marriage or your relationship to work, you got to listen from a place of caring and not a place of your own insecurity. So what if you hurt me then? This is right now. This is this moment. So I can't listen with those ears. I got to listen with these ears that I want to make this work. I want to make this better. Or I'm going to keep pushing the thing. Job said it like this: the thing I fear the most has come upon me. You can treat a person in a way that will cause them to go and do the very thing that you don't want them to do. No excuse for them, but you done treated them in the way, like Shamika said. If you're gonna cuss me out for telling you the truth, and you're gonna cuss me out for being wrong feel good. So I might as well go ahead and do the wrong and get cussed out. Because I'm getting cussed out either way.
Amen. Good point. Good points. They have said a mouthful. I just want to say, in communication, know that you are not always correct. You are not always right. You can be wrong sometimes, and it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to agree to disagree. That was my only point. Next
Last question.
How can couples navigate challenges related to finances, career, and other external factors that can affect their relationship? How can couples navigate challenges related to finances, career, and other external factors that can affect their relationship?
I'd say with finances, which one of y'all's best? Who's better with finances? Who got the most bills? Who has the most debt? So if you got the most debt, that means you ain't the one that's the best with finances.
I would just say, I said this when I preached a couple Sundays ago. You need to have a date night. Date night, whether you're married, whether you're dating, whether it's a friendship. It's a time that you've set apart to sit down and have a conversation. And I told them that dating, you need to become a USB and plug into your partner. Whether it's your friendship, no matter what it is, your relationship, you plug in. A USB doesn't talk back to you. A USB downloads, sticks itself into something so it can download the information so that the person that's the USB can pull it out, pull it up, and go back and remember what they said. So if you are a USB and I'm plugging into you, I'm plugging in and I'm listening and getting all the data. Download your data into me. Where are you at financially? Where are you at mentally? Where are you at spiritually? Where are you? So you're going to download that into me, and then after you get through downloading, I'm going to unplug my USB. You plug your USB into me. Where are you? And then once we get that, because it's for informational purposes only, USBs does not argue. USB just downloads information. So what you give to me, I'm simply opening it up, read only. I'm not trying to alter. I'm not trying to put a period where you put a comma. I'm not trying to put a question mark where you put a period. I'm not changing anything that you downloaded into me. I am using that for educational purposes only. It is a judgment-free zone. If this is where you're at, this is where I'm at. So now you have my information, I have your information, and now as two articulate adults, we are going to sit down and see the information that I just downloaded into you. How can I take that format and stick it into where you're at, because you're missing something here, but I have it here. So now we just need to come together as a couple, whether it's a friendship, no matter what, and say, okay, where you were lacking here, I have extra here. Because when we're saved and in relationships, how many of us know that what God pours into you, your cup is for you. The overflow is for everybody else. So if you're struggling financially in this part and I have an overflow of funds, then we need to put that together so that I can pull you out. And then I'm depleted emotionally. I'm numb right now, and you have an overabundance of emotion. Plug back into me so that because you're overflowing, pour your overflow into me so that now we are both full, and then we can continue to grow, and then we both overflow again, and then we can pour into someone else. So to me, the biggest thing is date night. Date night, date night, date night. Just, we're not going to sit down with the bills and throw them on the table. We're going outside of the environment where we created the problem. Because you can't fix the problem in the same area you created the problem. You've got to step outside somewhere different and say, okay, baby, listen, this is what we got. And if it goes back to trust. Trust, the USB only has the information that you load down into it. So if you're downloading a lie into me, then how can I help us get together and do this so that we live in our truth? Because if you're downloading a lie, I'm only going to be able to help fix part of the problem because you've not told me the whole problem. If you in $30,000 worth of debt, don't tell me you in $10,000. Because now I'm sitting here we're working this thing together, and once we get to $10,000 and your money's still looking funny, I'm looking at you like, wait a minute, you should have told me this when we were downloading. Yeah. You downloaded a lie into me. Don't do that.
Yeah. And it's also too there when I used to have the computer over there, but now I got it closer. When the computer was over there, I had to have a power connector because we were too far apart. And I had to have something to generate a little bit more power to get the signal over there. I was thinking about that when she said, sometimes if your relationship is too far apart, you're going to need somebody in the middle. Because she'll catch her data, I'll catch his data, and then we'll help y'all to bring that data together. Because, listen, things do not get better by themselves. When you are sick, you've got to take some medicine. When something is broken, it has to be set, or guess what? It will heal crooked. And a lot of people have been through things, and because you didn't go to anyone to help you reset it, it's healed, but it healed crooked. And so now what you have is out of order. It can't give you the results. Yes, sir?
No.
That was good.
I know some finances and something.
How to communicate.
How can couples navigate challenges related to finances, career, and other external factors that can affect their relationship?
It kind of goes back to what they both were saying, but you have to be willing to have the hard conversations. Things that you may be a little embarrassed about, where you kind of messed up the money, or you bought something you shouldn't have bought, and now we're in a mess, and it's like, I was going to buy this, or I was going to pay this, and I did this. Whatever it is, you have to be truthful about it so that you can kind of get behind it. But just have those conversations. And another way is become friends and not just partners. When you are friends, you're willing to hear your friend's heart. When you're a partner, it is what it is. It's business. Bro, what you got, what I got, let's do it. Let's get it together. But when you are friends, I'm empathetic. I put myself in your shoes because I understand that, maybe something came up that you couldn't, you had to use money for, something you couldn't get out of that had to be done unexpectedly. I'm not going to be upset with you because you don't have your part when I know that you had your father's health had to be paid or whatever it is. But if you become a friend first, then you can conquer anything. Until Bishop and I became friends, we could hear each other, understand each other, listen to each other. And it does take some time because we were just talking last night. We went on our first date on his birthday, January 7th. We were married by May 19th.
We did that. We did that.
We're almost 11 years in, but we didn't take time to learn each other's ways and become friends. It was all ministry, ministry, ministry. You know, you got what I got. You know, we're going the same direction spiritual-wise, but what about natural-wise?
Didn't even like each other.
Because like he said, he told me he was crazy. If you asked me 3 years later, I was saying, this man is crazy. Like, because he was a very introverted. As I said last Sunday, he came around my family and friends because he wanted to be with me and he wanted to show me that he could do it. But when we got married, he was like, no, I'm not going. You're not going. So I had to learn how to deal with his ways, and he had to tweak some things. I had to tweak some things. Now we have cookouts and whatever. He's there. It took him a while to get there because in anything you want to work to make you better for them. They want to make themselves better for you so that you guys can be 100 coming together, not 50-50. You're going to be 200 because you're the best you. So definitely those are the points I wanted to share.
And I'll close with this. And marriage or not, I'll do things for my friend that I won't do just because we're married. So when we became friends, now she can ask me things. Like she asked me the other day, said, hey, can you do this with your insurance? I didn't have to think second. But if you'd asked me that a year ago, 2 years ago, no, I ain't doing that. But when you ask me as my friend, it's different. Because it's weird. But there's something about a friendship that I don't feel like I'm getting manipulated.
Yeah. Relationships come and go, and that's why I tell people you gotta when it comes to relationships and stuff, and I tell a lot of people, being what I'm in, I'm like, we can walk away and I can still be your friend because I value our friendship along with the relationship. I'm mature enough to see the relationship side didn't work of it, but we built a friendship within that because at the end of the day, that's why I tell my friends, I used to be the type, I shut every friend off when I get in a relationship. They shut them out. But then as soon as that relationship go left, and I'm calling, look, they done left me. Well, I hadn't even talked to you in 5 months. They could have said that.
Tyrone.
Right, but they come right back, but they're there for me because a friendship outlast. You're going to always have that friendship. Relationships come and go. It's just like you got family and you have, how you people say you're related, then you have family. Related just makes you blood. Family is that love, that bond.
Yes.
And that's like, to me, with friendship, relationship. Yeah, we can be in a relationship today, and tomorrow we can't even talk, won't even be talking to each other. I walk in the street and pass you like we strangers.
Exactly.
But that friend,
Pierre, sit down.
that friendship, we can break up, and then tomorrow I'm going to still, you got to have respect for the other person, the situation, but still, that friendship is so deep, and a lot of people get in relationships without realizing that you have to be your mate's friend. I want my mate to be my best friend.
Yeah.
I want you to be able to tell me when I'm being ugly, and I'll roll over to you. I should be able to go to you and tell you anything. Mm-hmm. You should be able to come to me and tell me anything, and there's no judgment on them. There's no judgment there.
And because we're friends doesn't mean that I have to let go of my friends. And if you get mad at somebody, do not expect me to get mad with you if it's just something that you mad about. Amen. How many of y'all enjoyed this today? Give God a hand clap of praise. Give yourselves, because y'all did great. Y'all did great. Thank you for sharing, Angel.